Welcome to After the Shoot, a podcast where we take a peek behind the lens to get inspired by the stories, challenges, and ideas of some of the most successful photographers in the business. I'm Justin Benson from Aftershoot, an AI culling and editing software that helps give photographers like you your time back, so you can focus on what you do best while our magical unicorns take care of the most boring and time-consuming parts of your job. I'll be your host for this podcast, and I'm so excited to have you here as we talk with some of my favorite creators.
If your pictures are not beautiful enough, it means you are not close enough. I'm always more excited and more creative when I work for the first time in one place. The only jealousy I feel is that they don't have to do group photos.
Okay,
That's my main jealousy about videography.
In today's episode, we get to chat with one of the most talented photographers in Italy, Daniele Torella. His amazing insights into the photography industry and wedding photography specifically are going to give you so much knowledge, and I'm so excited for you to learn along with me. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Justin.
No problem. So, I'm gonna go through my normal process, which is the first and most important question. How did you become a photographer?
By casualty, because I studied cinema at university.
Okay.
Cinema, even now, it's my main passion, even more than photography.
Yeah.
As you can see about my tattoo, it's all about movies. So I studied cinema at university and I did the exam about history of photography.
Okay.
And then I fell in love with this incredible art, and I'm here.
That's amazing. So just to go, my story is actually very similar to yours. So I studied film in New York City. So I went to film school in New York City, and I studied lighting for film. And I ended up getting my first job as a locations person. So I would go help them find locations and whatnot. So the first task I had to do was take a camera and go walk around New York City and photograph places for them to film the TV shows. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a cinematographer, or I'm gonna go.
Same here.
But it ended up being that I was just like the low guy on the pole, and I was working for like a TV show called 30 Rock. So I would go around and just take pictures of places and say, hey, can we film here? Do you wanna film there? But because I was walking around New York City, I was just taking photos of really cool things, because New York City. So I would see buildings and places and that sort of stuff. And then from there, it turned into a passion and a love for photography. So funny that you were cinematic, and that was also my start.
We have more or less the same path.
Exactly. Do you feel any jealousy towards videographers when you, like, let's say you're photographing a wedding and you have a videographer? Do you ever look and say, I could do that, or I wish I was able to do that?
The only jealousy I feel is that they don't have to do group photos.
Okay,
That's my main jealousy about videography.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I mean, for me, when I'm photographing, and sometimes I'll look over and see the videographer with their gimbals, and they'll be moving through things and getting all these creative shots, and I do feel jealous of that. I look at that and say, oh, I wish I could do that. You know, I think the big difference with the photography and the videography is we're capturing a precise moment. In the video, they can move through a moment, and it's okay.
Yeah, maybe they can. The only jealousy I have, apart of course, beside the group photo thing, is that they can add music. I think adding music is really easy to get emotional.
Yeah, I mean, you could add music to your photos, make a slideshow.
Slideshow, but
it's not the same. Yeah, not the same as that moving camera and that piece. Cool. So you started in cinema. You studied, found your love for photography. What was your first kind of introduction to photography? Like, were you hired to be a wedding photographer, or how did you get started?
So more or less 15 years ago, I started to work for old-fashioned photographers, like 90s style, with all this posed picture with a bride on the sofa with a bouquet looking at the camera all the time, but I didn't like this kind of pictures. And I did those things just for money. Mm-hmm. But once We did the wedding of Riccardo Folli. Is one of the most famous Italian singer in the Italian history. And he told us, guys, I'm always in front of camera. Today I want just to have fun, so I don't want to be bothered from you. And we were forced to take candy shots and to not pose him all the time. And then after that day, I discovered that I was really in love with that style. So really elegant images, but not always staged. Something really candid, really spontaneous.
That's amazing. So I really wanted to focus today on that idea of candid, and that was the perfect introduction to it. I think you are a master of candid photography.
That's right.
So you absolutely, the images are incredible, and I'd love to kind of understand how you go about that. So I myself, I'm probably your old boss, right? Everything's very posed, and I try and make them interact. But you won't find me kind of hunting around looking for moments as much as me telling them, okay, go in the corner, look at each other, close your eyes and touch noses, whisper something dirty in her ear or whatever it is to make them laugh. How do you say your style, because you know both ends, you know the traditional pose, look at camera, and you know the completely far away. How do you blend that together on a wedding day, or are you pretty much like, where is Daniele? He's capturing moments.
I don't want to be like an invisible photographer. I want to be really close to the couple, even if I don't do post pictures, because I want to be present in the scene. I want to be part of the scene. I don't want to spy them from 100 meters. I'm like a work photographer. As Kappa used to say, if your pictures are not beautiful enough, it means you are not close enough.
Okay.
So I don't like to use zoom. I don't like to use tele. I like to use lenses like 35 or 50.
Yep.
Because I want to be in the scene. I want that the scene will live in my pictures.
That's great. So you're really you're in your scene, which is amazing. Do you direct at any point, or do you kind of just let the day unfold? You're just there capturing everything, or are you saying, okay, we're going to go here because the light is good and I want to take this photo? How do you interact with your couples?
Yeah, mostly are candid shots, but of course, if I'm looking at some nice cut of light, I can tell the bride and groom, guys, go over there because the light is awesome. So I can direct some things, but my main goal is that in my pictures, everything will be perceived like natural and candid. My main goal is elegance. So I try to find elegance in posed pictures, but also in candid shots. And you know that in posed pictures, you can find easy elegance, but in candid shots, sometimes you're always messy, always weird expression. It can be more difficult to find elegance and editorial looks in candid moments.
Yeah. So it's really, it sounds like you really are just letting the moments unfold, but you will step in to guide them towards a moment. So let's say if we were in this room, we're the bride and groom and we're sitting here and we're enjoying our day. And you're capturing some photos, and then you say, oh, you know what would be amazing? That pocket of light over there, do what you're doing over there.
Yeah.
But you're not saying, hey, go over there, stand by the window, pose like this, and do that.
Not that.
How do you find that your couples naturally interact that way? Do you have to kind of say, hey, you have like 3 chins, can you pick your chin up? Or how, I guess the struggle I would have as a photographer with candid shots is that my couples aren't very natural. When I say, hey, go over there and stand by that window, the light is really good, they kind of go, what am I supposed to do now? How do you get over that? Do you teach them that? Are they learning that on an engagement session, or are they just naturally really good at it?
Since I never work in Rome nowadays, I work in all Italy and sometimes even outside Italy. So I can do engagement pictures.
Okay.
It's almost impossible to me
Yep.
But it's really important to me to build a nice relationship with them, even just by a video call, like Google Meet or Skype. So during the wedding day, they'll perceive me like a friend or someone they trust, and not just a vendor. So if I'll tell them, guys, go over there because the light is nice, we'll do a really nice photo, they usually follow me.
Okay. I mean, I could see that they would, but how? I guess so. They'll go where you tell them. But what comes next? Like, how do you make sure that they don't look bad?
I basically told her, guys, now enjoy each other, and I do some jokes. So, for example, a classic of my style is, guys, look each other, the room, stay on her, kiss her neck, stay on her like a pit bull, and she's going to laugh. You laugh. Now I take the shot.
Okay, that's good. I like that.
So they will be together, enjoy the moment. I'll do some stupid jokes, some silly things. They smile, they laugh, and I take this moment. So the moment will be
that moment
natural, because they're laughing for real.
Yeah.
But it's also staged because I put them on a nice light with a nice background and with a nice pose.
Well, I mean, that's what you have to do. Would you set up a pose in that case? Would you say, okay, groom, go behind the bride and squeeze her?
Yes, nothing too staged. So I don't want to direct them too much. So keep your chin like this. Take care. I can give them some direction.
Little tips.
Yeah, little tips.
Yeah, just little things to improve the photo slightly, but not really telling them how to. You're not their boss. You're just saying, you know what, you would be cute if you held hands instead of having your hands down by your side, or if you picked your chin up, it would look nice. So that's cool. That's such a fascinating thing for me. So as I said, I would be your old boss, right? So I'm like
you're good. He was not. I love post pictures. I love editorial styles and this epic poses with this bride and groom. But I don't like lame pictures.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But yeah, it's for me, the candid stuff is so hard. As a wedding photographer, it's easy to say, I'm going to just go and let things kind of unfold and I'm going to take pictures as I see them. But for me, I feel too much pressure. So I feel like, okay, if I don't force my hand, I won't get what I want.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm always like, okay, I'm going to just make what I want
Your
happen.
Comfort zone.
Yeah, so I found my comfort zone. But one of the things I always wish I could do is be more candid. So for those who are listening, how would you say, I mean, you got probably the best deal in the whole world. You had somebody who said, do not pose me, do not just take pictures and do the thing. How would you suggest or recommend a photographer like myself to get more comfortable in candid photography?
I used to practice on the street. I really like the street photography. So I was going to walk on the streets, especially during my travels, because I really love to travel, and take candid moments, take candid picture of people on the street. And this was a big deal to me because it allows me to not have fear of them. So I can be really close to them when they're eating or then there's something. Sometimes this can be also dangerous because especially in some weird places like Rwanda, I had big problems with people because they don't like to being photographed.
Okay.
But it's really important to me because you can master the light, you can master the moment, the composition, and also be able to take the emotions without posing them.
Yeah, so that's a good exercise actually.
Yeah,
So you can
yes, it's really
you
important.
can really just the best. That's probably the best advice I've ever gotten on how to get more candid is go be candid. Go actually into the street. Force yourself to learn to anticipate.
Yeah, anticipate is the key.
Because it's anticipation.
Yeah.
on a wedding day, you kind of know what's going to happen, but you don't really know. So being able to prepare for what's coming without really knowing what's coming, I think is a big piece of the Candid, and that's how you would get that is street photography. That's really the easiest way. It costs nothing. It's something you can go do anywhere in the world, wherever you are. If there's people walking on the street, you can take photos and learn how to get comfortable, A, taking photos, B, A, taking photos of people, but B, taking photos without staging them. Exactly. Which I think is good. From my experience, I had photographed a funeral once. So a friend of mine, his father had passed, and he asked if it was traditional Vietnamese culture to photograph a funeral. For me, as a not candid photographer, that was the hardest assignment I've ever had, because not only was I trying to photograph moments that were very sensitive, I couldn't pose anything. I had to step back and just photograph these sensitive moments, but then I also had to fear. What if I'm crossing a line, or if I'm making it too? And that's exactly, I think, what a street photographer, just like you said, you were like, oh, I'm going to take a picture of somebody who doesn't want their photo taken, and it didn't go well in Rwanda. But you can absolutely do that, which is great advice. And I think I'm going to do it. I think I need to implement that a little bit more. So throughout the day, you come to group photos. This is probably the next big question with candid photography. Group photos tend to be a little bit more posed. Are you posing that? Are you running that? Are you in charge of that part of the day? Or are you kind of just like, oh, bride, what do you want to do?
No, unfortunately, yes, because I have to do it. But truth to be told, I don't like to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much involvement do you have with that? Are you telling everyone where to stand and how to stand and kind of getting that posing, or are you like, you want a picture of you and
look at me. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, I don't like to do it. Yeah.
So if the bride, do your brides give you a list of photos that they want or anything when it comes to family, or?
Yeah. I'm happy to receive a list of group pictures because I think it'll be faster in that way.
Yep.
But I don't want to have a list of to-do photos, not group photos, but photos during the day. Because since my style is creative and is pretty candid, I don't want to follow a list. I don't want to follow a scheme. I want to be creative and be fresh.
That's great.
I don't want to follow rules.
So you have, so let's say you have your group shots. I give you 10 photos that I want for family. Okay. Do you kind of just call out the names and then they come together? Yes. You don't tell them where to go or anything. You're just like, okay, mom, dad, sister, brother,
I just try to find a nice background with a decent light. And then I shoot.
And then you shoot it. And then their interaction with each other is, again, candid, because if dad likes his other daughter better than the bride, he's going to go stand with her.
Yeah, basically, I look for the moment in between.
Okay.
In between the pictures, so when they smile, Dad, your tie is wrong. I took this picture. Yeah. Because in my opinion, a picture like this, it tells more than a group photo.
Yeah, that's great. That's beautiful. So when your couples, for instance, myself, I use our CRM Studio Ninja. So my clients, we have everything in our Studio Ninja account, right? And I send them over a questionnaire beforehand, and the questionnaire asks them what time I'm supposed to be there, all of the events for the day and everything. That's where I get all my group shots and shot list sort of stuff. Do you do something like that, or you just say, hey, tell me where to be and I'll show up, and then I just follow you the rest of the day?
More or less, tell me where and when.
That's great.
And I'll be there. Especially when wedding planner, I hope no wedding planner will look this interview. Because wedding planner sent me this huge list of the timeline, but I just take a look at the moment where I have to get at the villa. And at the moment I have to go out. Yeah.
That's a pretty good way to do it. I think when I get the same thing from a DJ or a wedding planner, and this is the schedule of events. I only want to know what I ask my couples, right? So I ask my couples where I'm going, what time I need to be there, but I also want to know all the important things for me, like ceremony,
Exactly.
first look, the timing of things, and then that group list shot of my family portraits.
Because
That's all I need.
I love to be surprised. So I don't want to know everything from the day before. I want to get there and then be surprised, be happy to discover things, discover people, discover places.
Yeah.
And it's really important to me, for example, to not work only at the same venue
Yeah.
because it can be really boring.
Absolutely. That's great advice. Do you end up at the same place more than once?
Now, almost never.
Okay.
Because this is the my favorite part of being a destination wedding photographer. So now, since I don't work in Rome, I work all above. So every time is a different venue.
That's great. That's got to be amazing to have such variety and
Yeah,
being able to
is.
go anywhere.
It is.
With that being said, since you are kind of going everywhere and traveling and whatnot, I think the hardest question I'm going to ask you today, it'll probably wrap up things here. The hardest question I would say is, how do you get people to book you like that? So for me, I have couples. They book me because I know that venue and I've been there before. People hire you as a destination candid photographer, having never seen, you may never have seen the location, you may never have been to that town.
Maybe.
Why do they trust you, and
Maybe
how can you build
the
that
reason that in my portfolio I have all the type of weddings. So I did a wedding of Palestinian guys in Jordan. I did a wedding in California, in England, in Greece, in Turkey, in Macedonia. So they know that I can manage all the type of situations. So travels, I can speak 3 languages, I can be relaxed in front of a killer, or in front of a prince. So I can be like...
You're versatile.
Yeah,
And you
versatile.
show it in your portfolio. So they know when they inquire, do you say, like, let's say I'm a new couple for you, and I say, I want you to come photograph me and my wife in Connecticut. Have you ever been to Connecticut before?
No.
You just say no.
And sometimes they ask me, can you send me a gallery of a wedding you shoot in that villa? And for me, the thing that I never been at that villa is a nice thing, as I told you before, because I'm always more excited and more creative when I work for the first time in one place.
So that's your selling point, actually.
Yeah.
It's if I haven't been there, that means you're getting the best work I've ever created.
Yes.
Which is that's cool. That's actually, I've never thought of it that way. I've always frozen. When I get the question, have you shot at our venue before? I say no, and they go, oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
But that's actually, that's great. No, the first time I'm there, it's the best work I'm going to do.
Plan when they ask something like this.
That's great.
But it is the sincere. Aspetta, taglia qua. This is something I really believe, so that I'm always more excited and more creative when I first work at a venue.
That's amazing. That's awesome. So I could sit here and chat with you all day, but I'm going to let you go. But I want you to let the audience know, where can they find more about you, like say on Instagram, or, you know, I know you teach some workshops and you're traveling the world and showing off amazing work. So where can they go follow along and learn more about you?
Yeah, definitely they can follow my Instagram page. So it's Daniele Torella Photography is my name for photography. And I used to do some workshop. I'll do in the future, but right now I want to rest a little bit. But of course,
you're busy.
Yeah, a little bit.
I believe at the beginning, right before this chat, you were saying you were in Ibiza, you were in Malta, or,
Macedonia, Ibiza, Sicily.
In the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, in the past 2 weeks. It was insane, but also really great experience. And I'm also one of the member of NFM, the most famous and important Italian association about wedding photography. And since they really now bond with you of Aftershoot,
Yeah.
I'm always at the event talking about Aftershoot, how I can get along with you guys, how Aftershoot helped me as a wedding photographer.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And we appreciate it. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
I think anytime anybody is in Rome, they need to call you and come take a workshop or do something with you, because it's been so great. If you're even in Rome at
The
that
only
point.
problem is I live in Rome, but I never been in Rome.
Thank you so much for joining us, Daniele. It's been amazing. I appreciate you so much.
My pleasure. Ciao.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to After the Shoot. Got any burning questions for today's guest, or just want to keep the conversation going? Drop us a comment if you're on YouTube, or join the Aftershoot community to share your thoughts. You can find the link in the description. Make sure you subscribe to get notified as soon as we drop the next episode. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. And if you like this episode, I'd love it if you gave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're watching this podcast. See you next time.